Daughter's drunk confession turned my world upside down and current circumstances make it even worse. Advice: not sure if this is the right place to post this since my situation is very different from others, but I am desperate. My wife and I have been together for 25 years but married for 19. We are high school sweethearts and have 2 amazing kids, a daughter and a son. I was honestly under the impression that we had a solid marriage, that our relationship wouldn't be like our friends and colleagues and we'd actually stand the test of time. Now I see how spectacularly naive and wrong I was. My wife has been a stay-at-home mom for most of our adult lives, something we both agreed, but after our kids went to college she began feeling restless, empty nest syndrome I guess. She would tell me she was feeling unfulfilled and felt like she had lost sense of who she was. I tried recommending hobbies we could do together, places we could visit, or even adopting puppies if that would help, and at first she was all for it but soon began saying she wanted to feel like she was contributing and not simply coasting through life. I understood and was willing to support her. She never liked sitting still, so I kind of expected it. She complained to a few friends and one of them actually managed to get her an interview at a real estate firm. She used to work in one before having the kids, and I was just as excited as she was when she accepted. In the beginning things were going great, but after the first year I noticed some changes. She started going to drink-ups with coworkers, began texting a lot more than usual when at home and at odd hours at night. She even started wearing a particular type of perfume and would wear more suggestive clothing. Nothing too revealing or slutty, but clothing that complemented her body figure a lot more than usual. But what made me suspicious was when I accidentally saw a message from a male coworker on her phone. Wasn't snooping, which seemed to be a highly inappropriate and flirtatious. I asked about it and I could tell she was slightly shaken but assured me he was simply a friend and she would talk to him about his inappropriate messages. Me not wanting to be the paranoid, jealous and controlling husband chose to believe her and let it go. Oh, how I wish I didn't. Her behavior got more strange as time went on. She started mentioning how she wanted to be more spontaneous with life and even picked up smoking weed. I made jokes about how she seemed to be living the same college lifestyle as our kids and suggested she slow down, but she dropped an absolute boom when she mentioned in a drunken state after another night of going out that maybe I'd dim her lights and hold her back. I was completely blindsided by this and really believed I was messing up somehow, so I tried to do everything to improve the marriage, even booked counseling, but it went nowhere. Then out of the blue that strange behavior stopped. My wife apologized for the way she had acted. She said it was like she forgot who she was but realized what she had at home and knew she didn't want to lose it. She resigned from her job and we began MC. It was tough initially but things improved immensely and for the 2 years our marriage was better than ever. She was more attentive, she initiated intimacy more and would shower me with affection. The only problem is that her relationship with our daughter seemed to be in a nosedive. I would question my wife about it but she would tell me it was a growing phase or a woman thing and once again I would take her word for it. Funny thing is during this period my relationship with my daughter improved. She would call a lot more, meet me for coffee or lunch often during the week and even bought me gifts, t-shirts, and stuff. I always told her it wasn't necessary but she insisted and I could always tell she wanted to say something but would hold her tongue. Tragedy struck one evening as my wife was returning from doing groceries and she was hit by a drunk driver. She unfortunately lost the use of legs and has been wheelchair bound ever since. Things got really bad and she would make suggestions about me sleeping with other women to which I obviously refused. I just choked it up to her depression and reminded her that I was here to stay because I loved her more than our situation. This actually made her cry and ask me why I was so good to her or what did she do to deserve me. Again I choked it up to depression and just tried to help her as best I can. Sometime later we went for our medical checkups. The doctor sat us down to inform us that they found a mass in my wife's throat. It was of an unusual size and because it may be cancerous they have to do a biopsy. My first reaction was shock whereas my wife was just blank at first, then she started laughing. It started small then became hysterical as she began mumbling that this was her punishment. We managed to calm her down but she requested that before the biopsy we could do a family dinner. I of course agreed and we had our kids and immediate family over. I made a speech about how my wife was the light of my life and how we'd get through this, but at the end of my speech I noticed my daughter was rather uncomfortable. I thought that maybe it was because of what was going on that made her feel that way. The next evening my daughter phoned me drunk, begging me not to hate her. At first I was confused but reassure her that I would never hate her because she my little girl and I will always love her. At those words she goes on to tell me how she caught her mother cheating on me with a man she had never seen before. It was during her, my wife, time at the real estate firm. My daughter gone on a road trip with some friends and decided to pass by a dinner they don't normally frequent to get a bit, and that's where she saw her mother lip locked with a man that nothing like me. Apparently this was why their relationship deteriorated and ours improved. I confronted my wife and to her credit she didn't deny it. Through tears she confirmed it was the coworker from the messages and says it was the dumbest thing she has ever done. She said he was always coming on to her and eventually wore down her walls. She tells me getting caught by our daughter made her realize the gravity of what she was doing. She wanted to take it to the grave because she never wanted to hurt me and was too much of a coward to confess, so she begged our child not to tell me. I am absolutely shattered at the revelation and don't know what to do. I now question every aspect of our relationship and wonder where I went wrong. She tells me I was a good husband and that none of this is on me. The problem is since that time I haven't been loving towards her. I still take care of her, but it's more like a nurse does with a patient rather than a husband to his wife. If I leave her, she will be completely stranded. She is dependent of me both financially and emotionally, and it seems immensely unfair. Sorry if it seems all over the place, but I am a mess right now. Comment 1. This is quite a story, my friend. I can imagine a lot of wives doing reconciliation for solely being with kids. No one thinks what happens when kids are gone. Your story tells us exactly that. She got punished by karma. Nothing much can be done by you or her. However, I do question what if your daughter didn't caught it? How she would have treated you as her relationship would have progressed in name of her freedom. She was obviously telling you that you hold her back even though you gave all support you can. She was gaslighting you every day until she was threatened for exposure. And then suddenly she came back and apparently no one was holding her back. This truly shows some serious badness in minds of people with affair. Comment 2. I can understand if you feel that you want to leave. I'm going to ask that you really try to imagine things in reverse. The most difficult part will be for you to imagine anything that might have put you into the process of justifying cheating on her. But you haven't lived her point of view. I'm not defending her in any way, but your story told it well. She was in a frame of mind that really set her up for all of this. Lack of self-worth, boredom, not financially contributing to the family. And she's in an industry of fake friendliness to get deals done. So she gets attention and bites. I'm still not justifying, only explaining. Most people who justify cheating tell themselves it will just be once, or just with this one person. The first time they get away with it, they become invincible. Until shit hits the fan, enter your daughter. So, she ends it. Can she tell you? Will you stay? Or is it more likely by your own morals that you'll kick her to the curb? How does she tell you? Her only hope seems to be take it to the grave. But that's not an option now. So we are at the present. Did she deny, like so many other spouses have when caught? No. Did she minimize? It doesn't sound like it. It sounds as though she has genuine remorse. In fairness to you, that may not make any difference. You might have already decided to go. That's up to you. If you're still deciding what to do, you have to decide what you would want if you were in her shoes. You couldn't blame her for leaving you as an invalid. You could understand if she held a grudge as she assisted in your daily living and quality of life. But, had you made her mistakes and realized that you really did love her after all, would you still be in love with her? Yes, you would. And quite possibly she loves you more now than she ever has before. For what that is worth to you. If you decide to stay, I suggest you get counseling immediately. They may be able to help you through this. I'm so sorry that you are in this situation. I'm sorry that she put herself into this situation. I'm sure if she could take this back, or foresee her life ahead of her, she would have never played with that fire. Comment 3. I am so sorry this happened to you and how your wife forced your child to keep a grown married woman's secret. This must have eaten at your daughter's conscience every day. She was probably busting at the seams. Your daughter needs therapy fast. What your wife did was force your daughter to pick a parent over the other and to choose wrong over doing the right thing and tell you. Your wife need to ask your daughter's forgiveness and accept if it isn't given. Second, you need to contact the HR department of her ex-job and notify them that they both were having an inappropriate affair. Get him fired, and if he's married, tell his wife. Third, you need your wife to sign a postnuptial and forfeit any rights she has over the house and your finances. That will show you if she is really remorseful of the affair. You don't have to leave your wife if you don't want to, but there are things you have to do to make it even. A. Divorce her even if you stay by her side. B. Get a paternity test and she has to tell the doctor or nurse why you need the test. C. Start dating even if it doesn't lead to S-time ever. D. Get checked for STD and ask your wife to take one also. E. Have her confess her affair to all friends and family. If you want your respect and manhood back, you have to utterly destroy her life. Why? She was never going to tell you, and she would have continued the affair if your daughter didn't catch her red-handed. Again. I am so sorry this happened to you, and how in a weird way your wife must be happy of her current situation. She got to eat her cake in the end. She had her affair and now forcing you to take care of her to the day she dies. Messed up if you ask me. Comment 4. Have a client in a similar position. He discovered her affair when she was almost into a wheelchair from Ms. He said that he could not look at her. He told her parents that he would not fulfill his husbandly duties. Her actions denied her a caregiver. Instead, he institutionalized her, divorced her, and made her parents responsible for her. He walked away from the house they acquired, and never spoke to her again. It has been more than 15 years, but now bedridden, and unable to communicate, she has nobody left other than her elderly mom. Comment 5. My opinion will probably land me in hot water. But here it goes. Your wife up. She was cooped up. Raised kids. Got some freedom and spectacularly dropped the ball on everything. Your marriage and her kids. When her daughter caught her, she realized she made a mistake and did the biggest mistake yet. She pulled her child into this mistake. After that, to her credit, she broke off the relationship, quit her job and reinvested in her marriage. Now there is wrong and right here. After her accident and loss of her legs, she gave you a pass which you rightly passed up. I do not think she thought that she wanted to even her affair by allowing you to get feminine accompaniment. Just like how she acted upon hearing about the lump. She thought that it was her punishment for her affair. This and the fact she said at times before her accident you were too good for her. My opinion is, yes, she was wrong. Yes, she did not keep to her wedding vows. But remember, there were 2 people at that ceremony. You can now punish her for her infidelity. Or you can show her what those vows should have meant. If you forgive, and it will be difficult and painful, you will also set the bar for your family as to what real love is. You can also mend her and your daughter relationship. There was 19 years of good marriage and now 2 after that. That brings it to 21 years of being good. Don't make a decision in haste. I have been faithful, but I have made many other mistakes. I have also tried to cover up mistakes. So I will not want a stone to be thrown at my glass house. Take time to think. You are burdened with a labor of love and caring for your bedridden spouse. You are happy to do this even when given your walking papers. You still denied yourself pleasures because of your high standards for love. I think live it out. And a lot of people will be able to learn from your example. I asked my grandma how she remained married for 55 years. She said if something was broken they fixed it. Your marriage is broken. But so are most of ours. The question is, do you want to fix it? One error in judgment fixed by the perpetrator hidden to prevent more pain. Is that the end? Thanks you for watching. Everyday new movies. See you soon.